Hello everyone, this is Daniel Patrick from Sabula Tech and OldRC.com once again, and today's going to be a little bit unboxing video of a brand new piece of equipment in the shop that's going to help make better quality products so there's less blemishes and error bodies that we're selling. And this is something I briefly touched on in a previous video when we discussed filtering the air to keep a clean shop as much as possible. And it was a piece of equipment that I've wanted for a long time, but the price is, a little bit on the high side. But at this point, we've been doing this 5 years now. I don't know, close to 5 years at least, in our own shop. Did it a couple years before that in other places. But this is a piece of equipment, if you're doing vacuum forming and you're doing thin gauge, clear material where, appearances really matter, you need to have this type of piece of equipment in your shop. And the places we had stuff doing for us didn't have this and should have had this, but I didn't know at the time that we needed it because of inexperience. But now, this many years doing it, I know for a fact that this is a requirement if you're going to be doing this sort of stuff. So what we've got here is a Haug, I don't know. It's a German, I think, company that produces a lot of different equipment for manufacturing. And this is an ionizing gun we're going to have here. We're going to unbox. And so I have not opened it yet. I have no idea how this is all going to be packed, but it is ready to go for opening. And we are going to use it today after this video. And we'll have in the other part of the shop a little video of it actually in use. Oh, nice bunch of packing peanuts. Looks like those ones you can dissolve, with the water maybe. Let's see what we got here. Got one box. It should be probably at least 2 separate components for this, and I'll explain those. This one weighs a ton. I think this is going to be the power transformer that's used to convert the AC power into, I don't know, whatever is done in the ionizing part of the gun. And then, yep, here we go. Here's the gun. And it's attached hose on it, or not hose, electrical wire. I still need to use the hose that I have to hook up to the end of the gun, and we'll have to figure out what kind of a connector we're going to need on this. That's going to be the next big question mark. Maybe we won't use it today if I don't have the right type of attachment for this. See if that's it. I think that might be it. All right. So, for those of you not aware why this is an important piece of equipment, when you're dealing with sheet plastic, anytime 2 sheets come together, they build a static electricity bond, and that can be very attractive to dirt and debris that you have in your shop, your garage, whatever, will get sucked right up to this. And then when you go to vacuum form, that'll come between your plastic and your buck or mold, and then you'll have little witness marks from wherever that debris was at. You'll see little blemishes in the body or whatever vacuum part you are making. And then just a matter of these sliding back and forth will build up static electricity. So for us, example, we get 4 foot by 8 foot sheets on a pallet, and just sliding a sheet off from the stack builds up a static charge. And this will help us dissipate that at that stage if we want to. I'm not sure if we're going to at that stage or not, if we're going to worry about it. But the most important stage where it really comes in handy is going to be when we go to put these in the drying oven. We always peel off, of course, this outer layer of film, and you can just hear all that static electricity, and it sticks really bad. So we'll show this in a little bit once we get everything hooked up, hopefully, what this is going to do for us and get us going on stuff. It should be pretty good. I'm excited to finally have it. It will mean that we won't have to have the shop necessarily as spick and span as we do right now, but we'll still do that, but this will be less chance that stuff is going to get attached to it. And one of the things is when you're cutting this plastic like we are with the air-powered shears, any little tiny pieces of the plastic when you're cutting it gets stuck to this as soon as you pull the plastic sheet off, and it is a big pain in the butt. We blast it with the air, but sometimes it'll just swirl around and suck right back to the plastic again, and so you got to keep going at it for a while to get things off. I'm hoping this is going to take care of that. So let me take this out of the bag and we'll show you a little bit more what this looks like. So this says airline. I don't know why, because this is not a connection for the airline, but yeah. It's got a whole bunch of different languages for the manual here, for the operating instructions on it. Let's see what we're dealing with here. So this, it's got some, look like a kind of a strain relief attachment maybe for stuff to keep it attached or mounted someplace. And this is going to go into, it's got a big special connector on it. That's going to go into the power supply. And it looks like the power comes through here, through this handle, and then out to this unit, which is going to provide all the ionizing features. There's tiny little, like little needles around this. And then we have in the center here, that's where the air is coming out when we're doing stuff. And it looks like they put a nice little foam thing so you can maybe kind of, yeah, you can put it on its side and it's not going to damage stuff. But I do see that the nozzle sticks out further than this protection thing, so you can't really set it down this way or you'll damage it. It has a nice spot. We'll be able to hang it on a hook, it looks like, without any difficulty. Oh, okay, so that's how that's coming off. That's coming off like that. I guess then you could put this, I guess this is a fitting we could put, I don't remember the name, the type of fitting could go, you could put through here the hose maybe, and then screw this on and it would encase it and close it on that. We'll see what we have to do. We're gonna wanna probably go to a quick change adapter for ours. I'm not sure how that'll work with this. This is all, you know, European stuff. This is probably going to be metric, I'm betting, which is what I'd really rather have for everything. But, you know, here in the United States, you can't get anything in metric because that's evil. That's communism to have metric. So let's go over to this. See what we have here. Oh, wow, that's a big one. So there we go. There's the power supply unit. That sucker's beefy. On-off switch there. Oh, looks like we could do at least 2 guns off of this one power supply. So that's nice. If we ever need to go to another one, we can do another one on there. It's got the branding there on it for them. 115 volts, 60 hertz, 50/60 hertz, 0.5 amp output, 7 kilovolts, 3 milliamps. Haug, North America. So, yeah, that should be interesting. I think this will be a good length cord for what we need. I was worried about that. We looked at some other manufacturers. I think it was SIMCO was one. We actually talked to a company. I'll provide that information. Actually, the company who we talked to originally, they provided us with a loaner model of a thing to test. And unfortunately, it's made for more electronics manufacturing, small stuff on a bench sort of thing, and the air output on it, instead of having adjustment like I'm gonna have with our normal air supply here, it had a little knob that you kind of turned. I would assume it's probably something like a needle valve inside the handle for it. And it wasn't really getting as much air through it as we get from our normal air gun. I could just tell it wasn't blowing off stuff with as much force. So we're hoping with this style of gun, we're gonna be able to take full advantage of all the air that we can with it. And I'll show some pictures here of that other gun that I'm talking about. That company also makes one called the Cobra that at first I thought that was gonna be the gun we wanted because it has a wide output on it, so you can cover a sheet and get it anti-static. But I realized too, we also need a blow-off feature to blow debris off, and that's gonna be such a widespread air pattern that it wasn't gonna have the force behind it to blow off really stuck on debris, and so that wasn't really what we needed. It would be good taking a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet off of another pile and kind of eliminating that static electricity from it as you go forward, but it's not gonna be good for when you have to peel the plastic off and you've got stuff stuck to it. So we went with something like this. We were recommended this by, I think it's Para Company here in Minnesota, and they worked with us and talked with us, discussed on stuff. I wish we could have had a loaner one from them, but I don't think they're quite set up that way to do that. So I have to give a shout out to the other company. I think it's like automation, Minnesota automation, I forget what it is. I'll put that in here. If you're interested in this sort of stuff, you know, give those guys a call too, if you like what their products have and everything with their lineup they have. They just didn't have something that I thought was best for us to give both anti-static and a good powerful nozzle option on it. The other one though, it worked great. I mean, for getting rid of the static electricity, it worked awesome. It just didn't have what I thought was maybe the most amount of air output that it could have and everything. And also their Cobra one was going to have a big air cubic, you know, feet per minute air requirement that our air compressor, which is 2 horsepower, I forget what it is just not capable of meeting the demands of that at all. Ours is just a 110 powered air compressor. It's not one of the larger 220 or 240 volt air compressors. Maybe in the future we might go to that, but it's just not really needed at this stage. It's an expense we don't need. We've even got a spot on the wall for powering one here when we moved into our new shop, but just haven't done that yet. So we're still using our older 110 from our old shop, and it really is adequate for our needs for the most part. And since we're not doing that Cobra gun, we definitely don't need it because that had a big, like I said, CFM requirement because it's got such a wide nozzle on it, and it's trying to give you great coverage for anti-static, you know, or ionizing capabilities and everything, which is not necessarily something we need because we're doing smaller sheets, and the blow-off thing plus ionizing is really our most important feature to have. Looks like there's also a manual in here for this. I missed that. Looks like they got a power supply that's got 4 hookups on it. So that's crazy. So yeah, so hopefully the next thing you're gonna see here is a demonstration of the gun. Let's do a quick little peel here, if I can. You hear a little almost like humming sound. Part of it's fan, but also this thing makes a little bit of a noise when it's on. You can see that's stuck on there really good. Not from static, but just the normal application. Like, it's hard to do one-handed. And it's gonna wanna, yeah, it's gonna wanna stick to that real good. So let's give this a blast. We're gonna give the plastic sheet a blast to show it now. It doesn't want to stick anymore. She's been neutralized. Woohoo! We're gonna wrap up this video with a long-term use section right here. So we've actually had this now, been using it for 3 to 4 months at least, maybe longer than that. It is now December when we're shooting this. So yeah, we've had it for quite a while. It's worked exactly the way we wanted it to. There are some things I'm not totally happy with on it, but they aren't deal breakers. They aren't anything that would make me not choose to purchase the thing. They're just kind of annoyances that I think could be thought out by the manufacturer a little bit better. Let's start off with the power unit here. The power unit, you're technically supposed to have a ground for it. We have not done that yet. We probably should right away. They have the option to do 2 of these guns. They talk in the manual about having a plug that you can put over this to keep debris and everything out, but they don't give you one. They should at least give you one in the box. You shouldn't have to go buy one little stinking little plug if you need it on a 2 unit like this. I mean, the little plastic thing is like probably to manufacturers no more than 25 cents, injection molded part at the most. So that's kind of a bummer about that. I don't understand why they wouldn't give you at least one. Then I kind of wish the power button was over on this side or up on top of here. Right now we haven't mounted it to the wall yet. Maybe if it gets mounted to the wall here and we get the ground properly hooked up, it would be better. But yeah, I don't like the power button on the other side from everything else. When you're connecting and disconnecting stuff, I wish the power button was over here. So that's my basic gripes on this. Then there's a kind of a maintenance thing that they mentioned in the manual. You need to do some cleaning on this, and you buy this separate cleaning kit. Instead of telling you how to properly clean it, they want you to buy their cleaning kit. They don't even tell you what needs to be cleaned on this. I'm assuming it's the little prong sort of things on here need to be cleaned, but I don't know for sure. And that brings me to another thing. We tested the other one, as I mentioned before, from SIMCO. That one had one of these little pins for the discharge of electricity and everything, the ionizing part. And to me, it dissipated the static electricity just as well as this does with, 6 of the little pins on here. So I don't see why this needed 6 and such a big, huge unit on it, because it doesn't do, as far as I can tell, any better than what that other unit does. So that's kind of an annoying thing about it. If that other one can do it with one so well, this should be able to, in my opinion. Then they designed the nozzle so that it actually sticks further out than this foam little protection part here, which makes no sense. So if you watch here, listen, it hits before the foam does. You should have put that so that it protects that nozzle from damage and everything if you accidentally set it down or drop it or something like that. So that's kind of an oversight that seems kind of a duh sort of thing. Like, why wouldn't you have done that when you were designing it? But the biggest gripe I actually have with this is the placement of this little electrical line here for the ionizing part. It is very much in the way when you're holding it, especially if you're right-handed, and even if you're left-handed, it's going to be, and it's already getting a shine to this from oils and skin contact. So this will eventually probably get worn through, and you're going to need a new cable. And I'm sure they're not going to give that new cable away. And they may even require you to just buy a whole new gun, which, yeah, that is a serious design flaw in this. If anything that's on this unit is this placement for this cable. I hate that. That is really annoying. It has a nice spot for hanging it. But, and the trigger on here is a nice variable air rate so you can adjust it. Whereas that SIMCO one was basically on or off, because the power unit had the air hookup in it, and there was a little relay inside that would just basically turn on the air or turn off the air. So when you hit the trigger, so this is, in my opinion, is better. I kind of wish I liked the SIMCO one. Like, you have one long hose that goes back to the main unit. We have a quick connect on here for the air. It works great, but it tends to get sometimes tangled with the air hose. So we may have to do something where we kind of bind the two together and just have the air hose be quick release at the wall, and the thing on here maybe just a permanent connection and everything, and have them tied together so it's more of one single unit, and kind of a little less annoying when you're moving around in the shop with it. But yeah, overall, this has been a very valuable tool. It's helped reduce the blemish and error rate in our bodies that we make. So if you're in a shop and you're running larger quantities of stuff that has to have pretty good optical quality to them, you can't have little blemishes or marks from debris and everything in it, I highly recommend getting something like this for your shop. If you are running this and you're not running an air filtration system though, you might as well forget this. Get in a good air filtration system going. We show that in another video, just a quick box fan with a 2-inch filter on it. We have 2 of them running. That makes a world of a difference. Combined with this, we get hardly any now errors with our bodies and everything. The only problem we have to worry about now is if there's something actually on the mold. We don't have to worry about what was more common, which was stuff on the plastic, because you peel off the film and that builds that static electricity charge, and now everything just gets attracted to it. This gets rid of that problem and has made the quality of the products much, much better. So I highly recommend getting something like this. It is worth the investment. I don't know if the cheaper ones that are out there from like China and India are as good as this. I wanted to go with something that seemed a little bit higher quality and a little bit maybe better support from the manufacturer than some of that other stuff that's just no name, doesn't really give you a brand name that you might find on like Amazon or eBay. So yeah, I'm one of those that's cry once, pay once sort of thing, instead of buy something cheap and then cry when it breaks and then have to buy the same thing over again or buy something more expensive. It's a cry once, buy once sort of thing is my kind of motto for a lot of this sort of stuff. So if you're also in a shop and you've got your employees that are doing stuff with peeling off film and you've got a dirty shop, you should definitely get something like this for them to do their job. It will make your products much, much better. Much, much better. So thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.